Some positive news is popping up regarding Randy Orton's status. We're also going to check out what's up with Oba Femi, Nikki Bella, and more. Starting things off with Randy Orton and what could be coming up there for him. Randy's last WWE television appearance was at the WrestleMania 42 Night 1 main event. Randy lost that title match to Cody Rhodes and immediately followed up that loss with a brutal post-match attack to Cody Rhodes that saw Randy hit Cody Rhodes with the title and then even hit Cody with a devastating punt, which is a move that Randy has not used since the Thunderdome era from several years ago. So, despite the fact that he lost the match and he went down in the history books as the loser, Randy still ended the night on a pretty high note because the lasting image of WrestleMania 42 Night 1 was of him holding the undisputed title over Cody, who was laid out on the floor. Now, a lot of fans criticized that ending for how it played out there with that post-match attack, but the strangest part of it all is that you probably would have expected for Cody to get written off of television from the punt while Randy stuck around. But strangely enough, the opposite actually took place. Cody Rhodes, who was punted and attacked after his WrestleMania match, he didn't miss a single week of television after that punt attack. But Randy Orton, the man who was standing tall at the end of WrestleMania 42 Night 1, has vanished and hasn't been seen ever since that night. So that's the part that's a bit off about this whole entire thing. See, Randy wasn't really written off television properly. He delivered the post-match attack and then disappeared into thin air. But in reality, it has been reported that some back problems and other injuries have been flaring up for Randy, and that's why he needed this time off to recover. But strictly within the WWE storyline universe, we were never really given any reason for Randy's disappearance. So it comes off as being a bit weird that Randy brings the punt back. You know, he does this crazy attack, and then he goes missing and doesn't follow it up with any type of explanation. And then, recently, they also started this big feud between Gunther and Cody, so that really made everyone feel like Randy was probably going to be missing for an extended amount of time if they're going to be throwing Cody into this brand new major feud. But a new report has recently came out that could make things even more confusing for all of us. Randy Orton is currently being advertised for the May 29th edition of Smackdown. Now, of course, the card's always subject to change, so that's not necessarily locked in, but considering that he's still currently being advertised for that edition of SmackDown, it does have fans feeling like that's pretty solid evidence right there that Randy's return to television is imminent. You know, if Randy's being advertised for the May 29th edition of SmackDown, that means that his actual return has got to be one of the episodes before the May 29th edition. Maybe potentially a surprise return on the May 22nd edition of SmackDown. So the news about this May 29th SmackDown appearance for Randy Orton definitely has fans hyped up that his return could be happening within these next couple of weeks here. And if Randy really is returning here in late May, the other interesting thing to wonder about is what exactly does he do upon returning? You know, the easiest assumption is that he obviously picks up from where he last left off and he continues to come after Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes just started a program with Gunther. So does Randy get into the middle of Cody and Gunther and make it a triple threat match? You just got to assume that Randy returns for Cody. It's hard to picture his return going any other way since the last time that we saw him, he was punting Cody. It would be extremely questionable writing if Randy returns, acts like the WrestleMania 42 post-match attack never happened, and then just goes to do something else besides confronting Cody. I think that would be really weird. So if Randy is coming back within these next couple of weeks, you would expect to see some follow-up to the punt attack that he gave to Cody. Be on the lookout for Randy's return to television over these next few weeks, and we will see what he ends up doing upon returning. A big feud in the women's division that was canceled in 2025 could be getting revived for 2026. Heading into last year's Evolution 2 event, one of the first big feuds that was being teased for that event was Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan. The feud fully got underway, and we saw that story unfold for a few weeks there, but what brought that program to an abrupt stop was, of course, Liv's unexpected shoulder injury in June of 2025. That injury happened at a horrible time where Liv had so many exciting things revolving around her, including that Evolution feud against Nikki Bella. But Because of that injury, the entire story and feud with Nikki Bella was scrapped. And Nikki has said over the last few months that she was bummed about Liv's injury and the cancellation because they had a lot of fun things planned for that feud that they never really got the chance to do them. But it is crazy how things can play out and go around, because what we're seeing unfold right now in front of us is potentially a revival to the Liv versus Nikki Bella feud. Liv Morgan delivered a surprise attack on Brie Bella and Paige during the May 11th edition of Raw. And Nikki was obviously not present due to her ongoing ankle injury recovery. But Nikki did react to Liv's attack on social media in a series of posts talking about how she's getting her ankle ready and how she's going to turn the clock back to her 2015 self to make Liv pay for what she had done to Paige and Brie. And not only that, but Nikki also used the yawning emoji to say that's how Liv Morgan as a world champion and even as a singer makes her feel. Now, Liv fired back at that post from Nikki, poking fun at her broken ankle, mentioning how the Judgment Day was going to take the tag team titles from Paige and Brie. And Liv, by the way, also sarcastically wished Nikki a happy Mother's Day and then jabbed Nikki for being a single mother. Liv wrapped up that post to Nikki by simply saying, and I'm quoting here, "See you soon, loser." So, although their 2025 feud was tragically canceled and was put on the back burner, surely seems like we do have a strong shot of seeing Liv versus Nikki again sometime in 2026. Liv is throwing heavy personal jabs at Nikki, and of course, Nikki is already hungry for revenge based off what Liv has been doing to Paige and her sister, Brie. So, setting up for a big potential stage here for Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan. And maybe that match can even be for the Women's World title as well. That'll make it feel like an even bigger match when you got that title being on the line as well. So for everyone who was bummed out that the feud didn't happen last year, looks like there's still a really strong chance that we may see that match take place sometime soon. The May 11th edition of Raw was only the second week of the Oba Femi Open Challenge, and they already gave us a pretty shocking story reveal for the Open Challenge. Adam Pearce came out to say that the Open Challenge was canceled for the night because nobody wanted to accept the challenge and step up to the plate to face Oba Femi. So after that one match against Otis, it looks like no one else at all wants to face Oba in the Open Challenge. Now, Oba, of course, did not take too kindly to that cancellation, so he went to the back and he grabbed Angel and Berto to bring them out to the ring for them to be his opponents for the night. Oba made quick work of them, even in a 2-on-1 match. But the concern here is for the future of the Oba Femi Open Challenge. If the story that they're telling us is that nobody wants to accept the challenge in only week 2 of it taking place, that sure does leave the future of the Open Challenge looking really uncertain for Oba Femi. A lot of fans did question the Open Challenge, and they wondered if they sort of wrote themselves into a corner, because with the Oba Femi Open Challenge, you're having him absolutely destroy whoever is on the opposite side of the ring from him. So, after a certain amount of weeks, they're probably going to run out of individuals for him to squash. So fans were always worried about the longevity of the Open Challenge from the very start. And now, in week 2, they're already claiming that nobody wants to accept the challenge. So, could this be the end of the Open Challenge already? Now, fans have also theorized that the Open Challenges would end for Oba Femi once he found a respectable opponent, so you got fans wondering if that could soon be happening as well. But anyway, what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.